Dustin yesterday was like playing the drums. I was like, I've never seen that before.
Have you heard of the funk?
The funk.
The funk walk.
No.
So why? Okay, I seen that. It's essentially just like when you're walking, you're just like, like you're. It's over exaggerated. You know how like when you see. So I think like the way funk came from is like, it's the EDM that Russia listens to. Because a lot of them have like that weird like, kind of beat to it.
Yeah.
In that fashion, and then for some fucking reason, Memphis, Tennessee just took it over and it became Memphis funk. But like, it's so fucking hilarious. In fact, I know the exact. So, do you know who Garantham is?
No.
Gun tuber.
Gun tuber? What?
Gun YouTuber.
Gun tuber?
Sorry, I'm saying words that are like.
Oh. So, this is we're doubling up today. So this is episode number 2, and as you can see by my little treat. Wow! I gotta figure out the orientation. This is a Saturday, and we're going for it.
Yeah, Devlyn had some extra time.
I like it. I was trying to figure out who to fill the slot with, and you were like, "You want to do it again?" Yeah, dude.
We just bang an episode. Why not?
Fuck.
Whenever you need an extra one.
I love it, dude. Because it's like on the whole week, so we have kids for a whole fucking week. So it makes things a little bit more occupied, which is okay.
So,
weirdly enough, have you ever seen one of those Bluetooth door locks?
Yeah, I don't like those.
You don't?
No, I don't like them.
Okay.
Why? What were you about to say?
Yeah, we got the security door up, which was a cunt to put up, by the way.
Yeah, no, I would imagine so. They don't seem that fun.
And I broke the deadbolt that was on it.
I saw that.
So the hole's just there. I was gonna put a Bluetooth or a coded deadbolt, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, so the reason why I don't like the Bluetooth deadbolt, okay, any electronic deadbolt you can kind of just like hit with a hammer and take it off. Like they're not really good. Like the ones with the numbers on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just prefer an old school deadlock. It's only because of the fact that like it's kind of, so I went down this rabbit hole when I was trying to find a gun case.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna find one that just uses my finger as a blueprint, my fingerprint, and then I learned that you can like kind of just like use a screwdriver to take it off and then open it. Like they're not as safe and secure as one would think.
So I guess we should take a step back now, and let me just tell you that it's like safe and secure is not 100% what I'm shooting for.
Are you just looking for ease of access?
I'm just looking for like a modern, clean look. Is that fair?
It is, but I'm trying to think about the angle you're going, because like the rest of the house doesn't look modern and.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Everything else is like.
Yeah, this whole neighborhood's like, nah.
And you're like, I want the deadbolt to be like fucking. I want the Tesla of deadbolts.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
let's bring technology into this. I really want to spike it up a little bit.
I get it. Also, like, it's a deterrence. That's really all it is, and
it's a good deterrent.
It's a great deterrent. So, if you have a deadbolt, anything, it's gonna work better than nothing.
Right. Well, and that my fucking entry door is metal too.
Yeah, that's fair.
So it's like.
Also, it's one of those things where it's like you know, you can cut a bike lock with a pair of hedge trim clippers.
Yeah.
But like, who the fuck carries around hedge clippers unless they're trying to specifically steal a bike? So like, it's a great deterrence for any normal person.
Yeah.
Not a seasoned thief. So there's that. And also just having that extra little like gauge. You're really looking at that like you're scared.
Yeah, I am scared. It's 15% alcohol.
It's a pre-game starter.
You right.
It's quite literally.
You right, folks. I'm staying home tonight.
The problem is you didn't you've already had a few of whiskiers.
Whiskiers.
So I guess the I guess the pregame ritual is kind of
Out the window.
that's just a fun shot.
This is gonna be the
That's a triple shot.
vomit inhibitor.
A buzzball is a triple shot once you've already started drinking.
Yeah, it's 15%, dude. Anyway, we'll save that for a minute. But shit. What were you? We gone through the list of like topics and stuff like that, and
Oh, Read the Room was the one I was thinking of.
read the room.
Read the Room.
You mentioned that a couple of times.
Because there was a few ones where it's like,
Yeah.
we can talk about it, but Read the Room is definitely the easiest one.
Yeah.
Or not the easiest one, but the one that I can most understand. So the reason why the thought process of Read the Room came into my head was because I noticed that when I get too comfortable around people, I start making jokes, and my jokes are apparently a little aggressive.
Oh, so you're on the opposite end of this.
Yeah. Yeah,
Really?
I need to read the room better.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So
this is the first time I've heard this perspective.
yeah, no, this is a flaw that I have.
Okay.
Like, so the best way I can so the thought process of me coming up with Read the Room is like Thursday when I already told you, but no one else knows about this yet. I was talking to I had to go do something at work, and we use bags a lot at work, and someone bagged all the bags into one bag, and it was completely unnecessary. So I just like took all the bags out of the bag and put the stuff where they needed to be instead of in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
And the bag was huge. So I looked at my my boss, and I'm like, dude, look how big this fucking bag is. Where do they find this? You can fit a toddler inside this fucking bag. And he just looked at me and goes, why would you even think like that? I'm like, what do you mean, why would I think like that? You can literally fit a fucking child in this bag. And he's like, why is that a metric in your head? And I'm like, like,
That's where we're at.
So
Shit.
I realized that, like, all right, this person kind of has some sort of feeling about this. It's essentially like just, I made a joke that didn't fucking land, and it was kind of bad.
So listening to it for the second time, I'll be honest with you, and like, in my head, maybe this is like pessimistic or something of that nature, but you can make him the asshole. You could be like,
He can.
well, why does the child have to be? Where's your brain at? Like, is the child dead in your head? Because that's not what I would put a kid in the bag alive.
Here's the thing. That's called digging yourself into a hole.
Right.
Because now it's like, well, why would you suffocate the kid in the bag then? And
Nobody
it's
said
like,
he was suffocating.
well, if you put a kid in a bag, he's gonna suffocate. This is semantics. That's not important. The point is, I made a bad joke and it got
Okay, fair enough.
It went south real
Fair
quick,
enough,
and I
yeah.
just chose to drop it.
So you think that you as a person should read the room better sometimes?
Well, okay. Like, I have this bad habit of when, like, a traumatic experience happens to a collective whole, like, or, like, when someone tells me about something that happened, the first thing I do is laugh. And the reason why I laugh is because I find the comedy in absurdity. And when someone tells me, like, yeah, they, sorry that, like, I didn't talk to you for, like, 2 or 3 days. I had this situation happen. I'm like, oh, well, what happened? And they're like, oh, this didn't happen. This is a hypothetical. Like, oh, my dog got hit by a car and then fell into their pickup truck, and I was trying to chase him to get my dog back. And I laugh because the absurdity in it. It sounds like a Family Guy skit.
Right.
And it's one of those things where, like, that's not a laughing moment. It's not funny, but like, it's kind of funny. And then it also comes back to, like, I try to make things funny when they're not.
Mm.
And like, it's my coping mechanism. I cope with comedy, and I think that, you know, if someone hits my dog and it ends up in the pickup truck, well, at least they're not gonna get hit again. Like, it's a terrible thought process. My mind is fucked up, but like,
I personally can kind of see. I don't necessarily do it with comedy. I kind of just I take the better end of the situation and lighten it up.
you look for the light at the end of the tunnel.
I do, and I've just, and that's only because over the last like 5 years I've tried to train myself in situations to just not have any brash choice making.
Yeah.
So when something bad or stressful or traumatic comes up, I just try to breathe it for a minute and then just be like, okay, well, at least,
Yeah.
and
No,
I'll just be like, well, this is where we're at now.
that's a good way to go. Like,
It is. And there's nothing wrong with comedy. It just doesn't work for everybody.
it definitely does not work for everybody. But
It's
but,
not
like,
a bad thing.
but like that's like the light end of the read the room thing. Like, because you can talk about reading the room and like when you start seeing an argument forming and like let's say you're at like the club or something and like it's starting to get a little dicey. It's like read the room. Is it most of the time when a fight breaks out, you're not gonna go in and stop it.
Right.
Not just because that's a terrible idea from like a statistic standpoint, but also like most people aren't going to do that. Like I would say like 99% of the population would not be like, "Oh, there's a fight happening. I should stop it." Like no. Like you reading the room is like I'm going to get out of here before this escalates
Mm-hmm.
or like I'm going to get to a safe area to where I know if something happens, I can at least call the cops or something of that nature. Like
Right.
I can like get out of it. Like it's kind of like when you hear a gunshot outside and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna go inside real quick, or like I'm gonna go under some cover just in case like they shot up into the air, because the bullets go down. I don't want to be
Yeah.
getting hit with a stray bullet for no reason. like something like I don't know. Maybe that we live in with neighborhoods where that's a thing.
It's a possibility.
So
yeah.
like it's and like that law where it's like a felony if someone dies after you shoot into the air.
I can't remember, but it's
some sort of like it's like Shannon's law or something like that.
It's named after a little girl.
Because a little girl died from that exact scenario.
Yep.
In Phoenix, Arizona.
Weird.
So that's why like, and it came around like 2003. Like it wasn't like it's a recent law.
Yep.
I remember Dustin telling me about this story where we're gonna get back to the theme in a moment. I remember Dustin telling me about this story of like the first time that one of his old friends came to Arizona. The first day he was here, he bought a gun and they were drinking and then they drove. This was like in the 80s. Then they drove around. And then this guy just decided while he was driving around to just start like shooting the gun in the air. And
Jesus Christ.
they got pulled over. And the cop was like, "Oh, you guys doing anything tonight?" And like, "Oh, we're just driving around. I just bought a new gun, so I was kind of curious about it." And he's like, "All right, how about you guys just go home and not
That's all they
shoot
got?
and not shoot the gun anymore?"
Really?
Yeah. Because it wasn't bad back then. Like I said, that law became a thing in 2003. So it didn't back then it wasn't illegal. So people just shoot their guns in the air. And I'm gonna be honest, I probably would have done that. Because I wouldn't have known better.
Yeah, I don't know.
But like listen, I'm smart. I'm not that fucking intelligent. Like it's
You are. You're smarter than most.
yeah, but I do make destructive decisions. Like that's
You say that, but I've never seen it.
I bought 5 guns in one month.
That's not destructive.
That's destructive.
It's not.
I was definitely on a watch list for a little bit during that. I'm like, why is this guy buying so many handguns and rifles?
I don't know. I don't see that as destructive.
I don't know. The point is like that was the fact that back in the day that was just like a hey, how about you just go home and calm down a little bit? Don't shoot the gun again. And now it's like that is like 27 years. Like 25
Holy
to 30
shit.
years. Like it's
Yeah. It's a long fucking time. I forgot about that.
DUI, aggravated driving, what is I forgot what that law is called, but it's like something about using a firearm. I forget the technical term, but it's using a firearm within city limits, and then shooting in the air is a federal crime by itself. Like that's
It is now. Now on all the streetlights they have little sensors for fuck, what's the word? They can sense the
Decibels.
yeah, essentially.
So if they shoot someone near a streetlight,
Yeah.
then they know where the crime committed and what time.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's the thing now.
So my girlfriend's fucking crazy and likes to fall
Okay.
asleep to forensic files.
Oh.
And I have learned so many things about how to commit a crime and not get caught. Also, you will get caught.
Yeah. It doesn't matter
Like it.
how long, you will get caught.
You, the later episodes, like season 14 and 15 and 16, they're like, we tracked their phone. And it's like, well, fucking okay.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you can track my phone, what if I leave the phone home? They tracked your watch. They tracked this. They tracked that. They tracked the computer on your car. If they think you're suspicious, they're just going to use your car. Well, I drive a 97. It doesn't fucking matter.
Doesn't matter.
Because someone was near you while you did that. And knowing that now that, my bad. Knowing that streetlights have fucking decibel things on them.
They do.
Did you know microwaves have a decibel meter? So, or not a decibel meter, a decibel sensor. So if you like press the popcorn button, it listens to those. So when, hold on, my brain just got scatterbrained.
Wait a minute.
When you press the popcorn button and you put the popcorn bag in, so when the popcorn bag opens up and releases all that steam,
Yeah.
that's the first sensor that goes off, is the moisture sensor. The second sensor that goes off is when it hears 2 seconds in between each pop, and then it'll go for another 15 seconds and then shut off, and then you have like a full bag of popcorn with like the least amount of kernels possible to that didn't pop.
I didn't know that.
I went down a YouTube rabbit hole for no reason about microwaves. I really think I have the touch of the tism sometimes.
Interesting. I might have to follow that one.
Don't do it.
No, it's to go back to the statement, you will get caught, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I would honestly say it's been probably like my number one deterrent from doing anything absurdly stupid.
Yeah, you will talk to the cops. You will.
It's like you can look at any big moment in history, any big organization in history. Doesn't matter how you want to twist it, how you want to turn it. It's like no matter what happens, at some point in time, you will get caught.
Mm-hmm.
At some point in time, the shit's gonna go south. Doesn't matter how good it is up until then. There's a moment in time where everybody gets caught.
Well, it's like, okay, so like one of the things they bring up in Forensic Files is like, in the older episodes, they're like, we had a piece of hair, but unfortunately we didn't have the root of that hair, so we weren't able to they weren't able to extract the specific DNA that we needed.
Right.
And then in later episodes, like, well, back then they didn't need the root, but now they don't need the root anymore.
Right.
So now they can just do it, and then because they had their blood and their fingerprint, also the sleaziness in finding DNA is absurd. Like, if you go to a police station, they'll wipe down all of the doors, and then we'll be like, after you, and then have you open the door, and then they have your DNA. It doesn't matter if you take the coffee. It doesn't matter if you take the burger. It doesn't matter if you take the water. Like, they got you.
Dicks.
Just by the fact that, like, they'll wait. They'll like break into your car and like do your steering wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And then it doesn't matter if you touch anything in there anyways, because they already have your the fingerprint from the steering wheel. So it's like,
This is kind of weird and off topic, but I found it oddly satisfying to find out. When I pick up cars for evidence in the movies, they use the white powder to figure out fingerprints. It's not fucking white.
it's graphite.
It's
They use
fucking graphite.
powder.
Literally.
They use graphite powder.
Dude, it's
They use
black.
pencil lead.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, the first time I saw it and I saw fingerprints, I was like,
Holy shit.
it's not fucking white powder.
Dude, it's even more funny too, because they're like, we found this
Dicks.
thing that we found a piece of paper that they shredded up. So someone went and found every piece of shredded paper,
Yep.
and then put on the graphite to find their fingerprint.
Yeah.
But the fingerprint wasn't strong enough, so we used this compound to bring out the fingerprint, and then we soaked all the paper, and then we put it in this thing to dehumidify it, and then the compound showed a full fingerprint. I'm like, how did you figure this out?
Yeah.
How? Where did someone?
Connect the dots for me.
Where did someone decide if we use this compound with this compound and then make it wet and then make it dry, all of a sudden the compound works and we can find everything ever?
And then it's clear as day.
There's one where like this lady was put in a barrel for like 60 years.
Oh my god.
And like when they found it, they're like, "Oh, she had a journal in there." Well, we can't read anything. You know what we should do? We should put them under different types of light so we can read the handwriting on it. What the fuck?
Where?
Who figured that? Who figured out that green light and red light combined helps you read the imprints on a fucking piece of paper that was in water for 60 years? Like,
Not me.
this kind of can tie into Read the Room a little bit, where it's like, just don't commit a crime because it's not worth it. If someone's pissing you off, just don't stoop to that level.
Right.
You're gonna get caught. You're gonna deal with more repercussions than if you just let it go.
Maybe it's time to go home.
If someone's making you mad, just leave.
Just remove yourself. Yeah. It's a hell of a twist turn back, but I'll take it.
I don't know. We're gonna keep going down the rabbit hole if we don't turn around real quick.
It's a good rabbit hole.
It was a great rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's a good rabbit hole. Yeah.
But yeah, no, like it's just one of those things where it's like, not one of those things. It. All right, so oftentimes in my life, okay, here's another story.
Mm-hmm.
I was dating this one girl, and she had two friends that were gay, and you've seen me with cousin Joey
Yeah.
talk mad shit about gay people and Mexicans, and
Mm-hmm.
like we just think it's funny to like bash on each other. We've spent hours on end to like talk about like to just like essentially like a roast contest.
Yeah.
Like just hours on end at times, just roasting each other to see who can think of the most absurd thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when it doesn't land, we'll like track back and then like build it back up. Like we enjoy the creativity of it and the absurdity in which someone can come up with.
Yeah.
Like I called him a fun cuck once, which is essentially someone that isn't part of the group, that's just watching everyone else have a good time, and then decides to like be like they're part of the group because they heard the conversation.
Right.
They're a fun cuck.
Yeah.
Like so
I hate that word.
cuck.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Just sounds like shit.
I love. You're kind of shit. I'm not king shaming, but if you're a cuck, just fucking don't tell anybody.
It just means somebody that watches.
Well, I mean, I don't personally want to watch my girlfriend get fucked by somebody else.
100%. Me neither.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're normal. Well,
Ish.
close enough.
Yeah.
But but either way, like Joe and I, we like to like joke around like that. We're very politically incorrect in our commentary towards each other.
Yes.
And these two gay guys came over to hang out with my girlfriend at the time, and I thought I was fucking hammered. I wanted to go to sleep before that. We already like did stuff, like we had like calamari mimosas at like fucking brunch time. We had to go do something else. My girlfriend at the time took a nap and was like, "Oh, I'm ready for another party." I'm like, "I want to go to bed." So they came over and I made a couple of gay jokes and it didn't land. None of them landed.
Didn't
None
go
of
over
them
well.
landed. It did not go well. So I go inside and I'm like, "Hey Joe, I need some fucking help out there because you can make them feel more comfortable."
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm talking to Joe, he's on the couch with a trash can next to him, and he looks at me. He's like, "Hey dog, I can't be a ride or die right now.
Oh.
I'm dying." And then threw up in front of me, and I'm like, "Oh no."
Oh, that's not good.
So I had to go outside, and I was like, "All right, guys, I have to let you know. I apologize for all the things I'm saying. I'm just trying to be funny, and I obviously didn't read the room correctly, and
Right.
I apologize if I offended you guys. I just mean everything in jokes, and I didn't mean for it to be aggressive. And then I just started like doing self-deprecating jokes, and then they realized like it was more okay. But like I recouped and saved the night because at the end of it, they're like, we want to hang out with them more. It was cool. And then I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you didn't. The first 15 minutes weren't bad.
Right. We saved it.
But like, yeah, no, like, there's been a couple of times where I adjusted. Like, I remember, you know, when like someone is getting angry and like, or so you say something wrong, like you think that something is like a joke, and then it like opens up like a door in their brain of like something like, you say something like, well, it's not like the, I was like, well, why wouldn't you find a belt sexual? And then someone's like, and then someone has like the twitch in their eye, and they're like, my mommy beat me with a belt. And then like they get like really fucking aggressive out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like one bad joke, and all of a sudden like the night is in jeopardy. And it's like, like, and you're like, all right, man, I apologize. Like it, like having the humility to apologize when it's like, oops. Like, because it doesn't have to be a joke either. It could be like you just say a comment and you're like, that was a little far.
Every once in a while that happens. Usually in these types of situations, I'm a little bit more quiet. I'm just
So
I observe a lot.
You're quiet, and I'm the one that makes the problem.
Right.
Okay.
That's
I think we've done that before.
That's okay.
Do you remember when Brandon got locked in or got lost in the girls' bathroom, and he had to get saved, and we were at a bar.
Oh wow.
It was that night where like I threw up mac and cheese, and then you
I walked
you
home.
walked out, and you were like, "Hey, are you good?" I'm like, "Just leave me alone. I want to die like the wolf. I want to die like a lone wolf." And you're like, "No, that's not how I am." I'm like, "I'll be back in there. I just need this moment."
Yeah, I do remember that night.
That night was a clusterfuck.
You guys brought some fucking heat that I had never had that night at the bar. Fuck.
It's because someone decided that they could beat me in pool, and I was like, "No, you can't."
The fuck you can.
What? Okay, like okay, so Brad. So my dad, Brad, like for some reason, all these people in my life that I grew up with were really good at pool. Like, where they're like, I'm gonna double bank it, and it's gonna go into that pocket over there in the far left, in between those two that are yours, and you're like, oh okay, and then they do it.
Oh, okay.
So they taught me how to like be a pool shark essentially.
Right.
Like there was a point where I would go with bars with Brad when I was like 13, 14, 15,
Mm-hmm.
and we'd just be having a normal game of pool. It would look sloppy, and then we would play some people, and I would win like $40 at the end of the night. And so like someone challenged me at a game of pool there, and I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. So I played shitty the first game. I was like, yeah, let's double or nothing. I'm confident.
Mm-hmm.
I'll even let you break the rack. And he's like, oh, okay. And well, I fucking ran 7 on him, and then he hit another 2, and it's crazy how shit-faced I was, and I can still remember this day. Like,
You remember a lot more about that night than I do.
oh, it was there was a moment where I thought that you were going to get into a fight because of a veteran in quotations was telling you about a story that he had in Afghanistan, and then either you or your friend was like, this doesn't sound real, and it turned, I don't think the guy was a veteran. He was wearing too much camo at a bar to be a veteran. Like,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
from what I know of veterans,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that guy wasn't a veteran. He was just he was trying to get a free beer, but and then he's like, you fucking hustler, and I'm like, well, yeah, we're at a bar.
Yeah.
Are you expecting to find someone that's not?
I fucking won.
Yeah, I fucking won 4 out of the 5. Like, of course, give me my fucking. I don't think I got the money, but he was like he got really aggressive to the point where he got kicked out, and then Brandon and I just went over to play that shuffleboard game or like where like there's like sawdust on the thing on the board, and you like push the thing and you try to like get like the most amount of points in it.
Yeah, they shuffleboard. No,
It's not shuffleboard. It's something like potato board. I don't know. It feels pickleboard. I feel like it's like one of those like weird names. It's got sawdust on it. You get those little
shit.
bearings, and you like
Yeah, shuffleboard's a standing up one. No?
yeah. Shuffleboard standing up. Curling is on ice.
What's the one with the hand?
It doesn't fucking matter.
It fucking matters.
But the point is, like, Brandon and I were playing that, and like, you came back and was like, I don't like your attitude, and I'm like, who the fuck, like, hey man, we're done already. Like we've already done. You didn't even pay me. Like you don't have the right to come up to me after you already didn't fulfill your end of the bargain, just to talk more shit. I think his friend ended up like pulling him out of the bar, and then I think you came back inside from the patio and was like, "Hey, what's going on, guys?" And I'm like, "I need food."
That night I walked to the Mexican restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
I remember walking in there, and there was a couple of my friends sitting in there, and I walked in, and they were like, "What the fuck?" It's like, what?
Yeah, I remember. The day I learned I can pay with a phone was that day, because I needed more cigarettes and I lost my card.
Mm-hmm.
So I canceled my card. Or no, I left my card in your car, I think.
Mm.
And I'm like, no. I remember more now. It was with the bartender. My card was with the bartender. So I was like, and so the guy taught me how to use NFC on my phone to pay for cigarettes. And I was like, that's fucking cool. Like, I didn't know that phones were that smart back then. This was like 2015, 2016.
No, it wasn't that early. Was it?
It had to have been. Because I was like barely 21.
I don't know.
21, 22 was when Brandon was still drinking. And Brandon stopped drinking like 2 or 3 years ago.
One thing. Give me like 2 seconds.
All right.
Better? Better. Okay.
Okay.
Now we're back. Sorry.
So,
Still learning how to use all this shit.
that's fair.
It's fucking bullshit.
YouTube tutorials. But
Ugh.
but they all right.
You said you had a story for reading the room.
Yeah, so we just went to the bathroom. That's why there's gonna be a weird cut.
Little pee break for both of us.
But okay, so I remember one time I was drinking with a friend, or I went to happy hour once with like some of my coworkers, and we were having a good time. And one of my coworkers lives in Gilbert, and I was like, how about I follow you to your home, and then I'll spend the night there, and we can just party for the rest of the night. So we agreed on that and everything. Started doing it. And first off, Gilbert is 47 miles away from my home. So as of right now, I'm effectively just gone.
That sounds so much further than it really is.
I mean, it would have been a 40-minute drive home.
Yeah.
And I was already not... The point is, I was going to be stranded.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just relying on my coworker, whom I knew for like 6 months at this point and never hung out with outside of work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I meet his family. He lived with his mom and dad at the time. And so I was like, hey, how's it going, Mr. So-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so? Like, oh, nice to meet you guys. You're very lovely. Thank you for this, like, early dinner and everything. And they're like, well, you guys are going to have a good time tonight, so let's have fun. Or you might as well get your carbs in now before you need to wake up.
Mm.
And I was like, you're great family, man.
That was odd, but thank you.
And, you know, we went to a bar. We went to a few bars, and it was kind of fun. I think it was like it was also like 5 or 6. My gauge for time is like 5 or 6 years ago. I just realized that. I don't really know how long anything is. If it's far away enough in my mind, it was probably 5 or 6 years ago.
Hmm.
But we were like hanging out, having a good time and everything. Went from a bar to a club, Went from a club to a house party. Went from a house party back to a club, back to a bar. So we kind of made like a weird like full circle God of War map kind of thing where like you start and end at the same spot. And throughout like the whole city of Gilbert, like we really just did like a tour to Gilbert. And
Tour de Gilbert.
there's one point in time like towards the end of the night when we got back to that bar where the friends that one of we took Ubers this whole time. None of us drove. None of us were able to drive. This is like top 4 times in which I was drunk, but not blackout, which is crazy. But when we got back to the bar, it got to the point where like the friend group were being like such assholes, like to where like someone would come up to like his buddy and be like, "We're out of beer. I need more money," and he would like give them more money.
Right.
And like this was like just the course of the night with everybody doing it. Like one guy would pay for it, and everybody would like expect him to pay for more and give them cash.
Well, it doesn't sound fun.
And it got to the point where I went to my coworker and I was like, "Hey man, are they? Is he like doing something on the side or like what's going on here? Like what is the situation?" He's like, "No, he runs a cleaning business. A cleaning and a landscaping business." I'm like, "Well, it's really impressive, but like what's going on here? Like it's
Right. What's happening?
I need to at least know the situation."
Why is he demanding shit from you?
Well, it wasn't even him. It was like his best friend and his friend's friends.
You should really stop putting ice in these.
Probably. But it's like, and like it got to a point where like by the time we were at the bar for the second time, I was like getting kind of uncomfortable. And then that's when everything came to light because one of that guy's is I don't even know what to call him, like a cousin or like friend to a cousin,
Mm-hmm.
came up to him and was like, "Hey, what's up, man? How's it going? You have some of that shit that you owe me?" And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh shit!
And it got real heavy real quick, like to the point where like he was getting belittled. I'm like, I don't know if I should fucking be a part of this. Like, like I'm here and I'm witnessing it, but I don't know if I should even get involved because the guy that's talking shit right now is clearly affiliated
Mm-hmm.
somewhere. And so like I'm getting like, oh no, I didn't expect to be part of gang violence tonight. And it got like more aggressive throughout the night at the bar.
Yeah.
And it's probably like 12:30, 1 o'clock now. And when the rest of the crew came in and saw that this guy was giving my coworker's friend a hard time, came up to him and was like, "Hey man, how's it going?" And gave him a noogie. I've never seen a grown man give another grown man a noogie.
That makes me uncomfy.
And the dude took it.
Mm.
Like, hardcore was just like, "Yeah, you got me, man. You really came up behind me and gave me that noogie." And I was like, what the fuck? He's like, "Hey, this guy, he's completely fucking harmless. This guy, he's a fucking pussy. You know how much money he owes me? He owes me fucking 10 racks right now." I was like, what the fuck? He's like, "Hey, how about you calm the fuck down and you get in your fucking place?" I was like, I'm getting real fucking... And
Yeah.
also, I was like, somehow like one of only like 5 brown people. And it was getting real weird because of the fact that it's like, oh, they know that I'm an outsider.
Right.
And like they're like talking to me and like they're like, "So are you from anywhere?" And I'm like, "I mean, I'm from Phoenix, but I'm not from Phoenix." Like it. And like, "Oh, okay. Where do you live?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I live in Phoenix." And like, "Oh, you're gonna stay vague, huh?" I'm like, "I'm gonna stay vague."
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah, bro.
like I don't listen. I'm just here.
You're like, I don't fucking know you.
Like listen, I didn't. We're in downtown Gilbert. I didn't know this was ghetto.
Right.
Like it's.
Didn't realize we
So-
could do this.
Later on that night, like something else happened, like down the Gilbert Strip, and it was like kind of weird. But like when we're there, I'm like, there's a point where like I started hearing like everyone's dirty laundry. It was like I fast forwarded through a whole like drama
Yeah.
And I'm just getting like the juiciest parts of everything. Like I learned that someone had a kid with this person, and like I just chose to stay quiet most of the night because I was like, holy, like, I did not. I am invisible to these people. I'm a fly on the wall at this point.
Right.
I'm just watching like all these like gang politics and like social economics kind of take place, and I'm like, this is a fucking small town vibe. This is crazy.
That's what you call
This
reading
is-
the room.
Yeah, that I fucking shut my mouth and I just because there was a point where I was like sitting at the table and I was just kind of looking around like, just like,
Yeah.
all right, what the fuck's happening? Like I watched a bar fight and everybody was just like, let them duke it out, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck kind of like old west shit is this? Like, it was crazy.
That guy just got hit with a fucking chair. Let him duke it out.
Okay, like
Fine, I guess.
dude, it was fucking wild. Like, and like I said, downtown Gilbert, like a strip of Gilbert that's like the entertainment center for that area, and there's like all this shit happening, and I'm like, holy, like fuck,
God,
and like,
damn it.
so after the bar went to close, homie spent another like $400 on like all the drinks for like the area that we were in.
Mm-hmm.
We took an Uber and we went to another party. And then we started playing beer pong, and like everyone's like, "Hey, new guy, get over here!" And I'm like, "Oh fuck!" Like,
God,
come
damn
on, let's
it.
play beer pong. And I'm like, I don't really feel like playing beer pong right now. And like it got to the point where like I took the guy like away, and I'm like, "Hey man, I know that like I'm not here, but like I think you should probably reevaluate the situation that you're in." He's like, "Nah, bro, I got it all. I understand what's going on here." I'm like, "Are you sure?" Like it's.
Yeah, like, I don't think you do.
I'm actually scared. It turns out later, like I learned that like his friend was not his friend, his brother was in the is in jail and like owes money, and like there's like a whole familial thing that was going on and
Mm-hmm.
neighborhood things, and I was like, what the fuck am I a part of right now?
This is
And,
too
like,
much.
And like so I let him be, and I started playing beer pong, and someone's like, you know what, fuck this shit, let's put some fucking money down. And I'm like, I'm
Nope.
not putting money down.
Nope.
I'm not doing that.
I'm good.
I will be done playing then. So I go outside and I smoke another cigarette, and one of the girls fucking comes over, is like, hey, you know, you're kind of a badass. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm a badass. Like, where the fuck have I shown that I'm a badass? He's like,
Right.
he's like, I've been watching you all night, and you are really good at being able to just figuring out like how to get through everything. I'm like, yeah. Like,
You're like, did you hear half of that?
do you think that I'm like, and like she was like trying to get in my pants. I'm like, I'm not doing that because of the events of tonight.
Right.
Like, it sounds terrifying to try to sleep with someone after hearing all of the other things happening tonight, because it sounds like you're trying to rob me. Like, I'm
Trying
not
to rob
doing
me
this,
or trying to get me fucking roped into all the bullshit.
and I'm not doing it. So
I don't wanna.
that was one of those nights where even though someone said let's have sex, I'm like, no.
No.
I say no means no. And and
Oh,
like
shit.
that whole night I was just like, what the fuck is happening? My coworker drove us back. It was like fucking 4:35 in the morning. We were watching the sunrise as we were going home. And we were supposed to work the next day. It was like a Saturday, but we were like supposed to go in.
Right.
Neither of us went in. Like it was terrible. I remember watching America's Most Wanted. It was Cops. We were watching Cops on his couch, eating hot pockets. Like we would make hot pockets, take them out, put more in, and just eat those hot pockets, and then like take those ones out and eat those, and like put more in. Like we ate like 6 hot pockets between the two of us.
This sounds like a trauma response.
It got to the point where we were like, where I was like, hey man, I appreciate you coming out tonight, but it was kind of a crazy night. And he's like, yeah, it was a lot weirder than I thought it was gonna be. I was like,
He's like, I didn't mean to fuck up that bad.
he's like, listen, I didn't know that. I didn't think that was how bad the night was gonna be. And I was like, hey man, I hope your friend's good. And he's like, yeah, me too.
I understand and I apologize.
But yeah, like the whole night was just like me kind of just trying to survive, walking between things, like figuring out like, oh,
Woo.
this person's talking shit right now.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let this one slide.
Let's not
Or like,
let's not listen or make eye contact right now.
well, it's like one of those things too, where like I was like talking shit. I started talking shit to someone because I knew they weren't gonna do shit, and that ended up being the right move. Like, where it was like they brought like a weak person to talk shit to me to see if I would back down, and I didn't back down. So it was like, oh, so this guy is cool, and it's like, fuck, man. Like I'm just. Like, I'm just getting involved in ways I didn't think I was going to. Like,
you brought reading the room to a whole new spectrum because sometimes there are scenarios where you do have to pick and choose what you even so much as listen to. Like, you can't even acknowledge what's going on next to you.
oh yeah, no, there was.
That's a real thing, you know, and that especially like out here in Phoenix, that could land you in shit you don't want to be a part of.
I just remember hearing about like a drop off, and I was like,
Nope.
I'm going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I'm not even fucking.
No.
I heard a hint of something. I'm just gonna go to the bathroom. I'm not even gonna fucking be a part of whatever this conversation is gonna end up being.
No, it's that's a crazy fucking real section of reading the room because
like it was
the unfair part of that though, because there is an unfair part is there's not. You know what? I really can't speak statistically, but I would say like half the people don't really have those street smarts, and I think that's fair to assess, right?
a lot of people don't have the street smarts like that.
Right. Street smarts meaning like you have to know when it's cool for you to be there.
When it's cool for you to make a joke and when it's not.
Well, when it's cool
like
for you to make your presence known, because if you make your presence known in the wrong spot, you're gonna get yourself dug in.
No, I had an eye kept on me the whole night. Like I knew that there was someone in the group just being like, he still seems cool. Like
Yeah, and that's that bullshit.
Because like there's like definitely a girl like assigned to me to like talk to me throughout and like make me feel more comfortable. But like I was like, listen, do you want to dance? Like we're at a club.
Right.
Like, do you want to dance right now? Let's go dance real quick. He's like, no, I don't want to dance. I'm like, okay, well then like why are you talking to me if you really want to like talk to me? Like, and she's like, I'm like, yeah, okay.
That's
like,
how I feel.
Yeah. Like, listen, I'm just here for a good time, and shit got wild. Like, amount of... It turns out I came to, like, the season finale of all that drama. Like, I accidentally came at, like, the time in which even he was like, I didn't know what any of that was going to be. And, like, since then, he's like, yeah, I don't talk to them anymore.
There is also the possibility of people just being so naturally oblivious, because the majority of people on the other side of that spectrum would probably not recognize what's actually happening, simply because they don't have the place in their mind to acknowledge what's going on around them.
Well, I think it's also just because of the way I grew up. Like I saw a lot of, and, like, me growing up, like wearing blue was just what you did.
Oh.
Like you always had to wear like some sort of blue.
That's a sidestep.
Or like, well, it's like I went to Choya Middle School. Like the colors were literally blue, tumbleweed, blue and yellow. Like it was like you always wore blue because that's just where you were going. When I went to Echo Mountain, I think the colors were like fucking maroon and no, Echo Mountain was blue too. So like my whole life, it was just like you always wore blue and your favorite color was blue and you always liked blue. And which is kind of ironic because I'm wearing blue today.
I don't know about all the color situation out here. Out here in Arizona.
Well, now it's red.
We really don't have anything that's got a leg to stand on out here, so we're not gonna get too far into that.
Well, that's a different conversation, but
it is because I'm not talking about Sinaloa, and that's basically what runs your shit.
Yeah.
So
and a lot of them like to wear red, but that's a different
it's a different red
area of all of that.
We're gonna keep that off conversation.
But like I just remember like growing up and like you always wear like blue and blue and blue, and like I think I wore blue that day, and then like turns out in Gilbert they like to wear red a lot, and because a lot of their schools have red in their colors, and I'm like, oh joy, like I stick out like a sore thumb, and I got told that at one point that night of like, everyone notices you, right? And I'm like, oh, I know, like it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Listen, I thought I was gonna have fun tonight. All right, like
It was supposed to be a good night.
I felt like Snoop Dogg going into Death Row Records the first time.
Oh god.
Like it really was just like, all right, like
God damn it. Oh shit. Is there anything you want to close this out with?
no,
Give me
Yeah.
some more. Give me some more dev intellectual.
So the other aspect of reading the room is also like being when someone's not feeling good to like know to like not say anything negative. So like, like when a family member dies or anything, like definitely just like try to use like any joke or like anything of that nature that's like not pertaining to the situation or any situation of that like it's just make sure that at the end of the day you're more of a you're more of a bright spot on what's going on than you are the downfall. Like be mindful of what other people are feeling at the moment,
That's fair.
because it's really important, because everything is fun until it's not, and you don't know how other people are going to react in dire situations.
Right. And I think that stands a lot for, some people do or don't care about, how the rest of your day is going to go, but I personally believe that when you can lift somebody up, it truly lifts up a part of you as well.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's really good to end on.
Yeah.
So,
It's kind of like when you go to bed, know that you're in a bed, or know that you're at least safe for the moment. At the very least, like just go to bed knowing that you're safe. Like it's when you go to sleep in your room at night, the last thing you should be is like, I hope that I wake up tomorrow. Like you should just be like, oh, I'm comfortable. I'm in a good spot right now.
fair enough.
The rest of the day may have been bad, but at least this bed is comfortable right now.
I'll take it. Well, just like always, whatever platform you're listening on, if it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, give me that like, follow, that subscribe, and you'll get notified anytime a new episode drops. If you're in Arizona and you do see the Me vs. Me truck, because there is one and it's covered in the logos, don't be afraid to honk, to whistle, to wave, whatever it is that you want to do. Just say hi. I got no problems with it. I love knowing that this thing is really bringing positivity to people's lives. So don't be ever afraid to say hi. And Devlyn,
I got nothing. I've already.
he said, "I've said enough.
I've said enough.
I've said
That
enough."
last message didn't come out the way I was hoping for it.
That's all right. We'll see you again soon. And yeah, a lot of big things planned. He said, "I'm out. Love you guys."